Hey guys, welcome back to SwissWatchExpo. Vlad is here, and today we have very special watch for the review. It's one of the first ever Royal Oaks created by Audemars Piguet. And we're going to jump a little bit more in the history of this watch and talk about the timepiece itself, so stay tuned with us. So first, Royal Oak as the model was invented in a difficult time for Swiss watchmaking, and also different time for the world, because in 1971 there was the change of the whole movement, gold converted to dollars, and in the same time there was a big quartz crisis with Japanese movement that was much more accurate and very different in finishing. So a lot of the Swiss luxury watches and Audemars Piguet as a brand, who was more producing the very small amount of very crafty gold dress watches at the time, there was a big push to create something new and come up with something very different to kind of stop this downward trajectory for the brand and got it back to where it belongs. So in 1972, on the Bezel Fair, Audemars Piguet presented their first Royal Oak model. It was very different watch at the time, because Audemars Piguet was most focused on the very thin, complicated dress watches with very traditional and classic look to them. So to introduce the sport model that was much bigger case size in 39mm, in comparison at that time, the biggest sport models as Rolex Daytona was in 38 and Tag Heuer Monaco was also in 38mm. So Audemars Piguet Royal Oak was much bigger than competition in their case size, but also was very different, because in that time the watch was associated with a leather strap, with something that you can wear on everyday basis. It wasn't like a bracelet must be, if you compare even the famous James Bond movies, the James Bond wears a Submariner on the NATO strap. So the bracelet wasn't something that people use on everyday basis, but Audemars Piguet decided to create the integrated bracelet sport model in 39mm and in stainless steel. And this watch was used to cost more than most of their yellow gold watches in dress lineups. So that was very controversial at the time, but a lot of people kind of get used to this, and they view it more on the finishing and how this watch developed as the value for this piece. So design of this watch was made by Gérald Genta, and it was a famous story because he wrote the design on a napkin and bring it to Audemars Piguet, and everybody was so impressed that the work started right there. So very famous history, very unique watch. And when they first introduced this timepiece, they decided to make the limited run of 1,000 pieces. And overall, in first production years for the Audemars Piguet, they make A, B, C, and D series for Royal Oaks. And this model was in production until 2002. One of the things that we want to mention about the watch that we have, it's come with the A serial number, and it's one of the first 300 pieces that ever was made. So that's adding a little bit more significance to this piece. And in first production until 2002, Audemars Piguet only make 6,200 of these watches. So you know that if you have this particular first Royal Oak model, this is very unique, because you and only another 6,000 people ever have a chance to lay their hands on this timepiece. So let's talk a little bit more about what revolutionary design Audemars Piguet decided to introduce on this watch. So in comparison, we're talking about the Rolex Oyster case and some other cases that was in that time. So when Audemars Piguet came up with this design, it was very bulky, because we have the octagonal case shape, with the bezel that are screwed in with 8 screws to the watch. And with that time, Audemars Piguet and other brands, they was developing the revolutionary movements, because for the dress watches, the thinness of the movements is very important. And Audemars Piguet kind of transport this concept into the Royal Oak model. So what we're looking at here, it's a very thin 2121 caliber from Audemars Piguet that they developed together with Gégé Lecoultre and Vacheron Constantin. And this movement also used in all other comparable sport models of that era. So if you're looking at the Aquanaut, you will have the same movement, but just Patek branded. And if you're talking about the Vacheron Constantin Overseas 222 model, the same movement was used in that watches. So very thin, very unique case shape in octagonal, and integrated bracelet for this watch. Also very thin, they become much more thicker throughout the time. This caliber Audemars Piguet used to use in the jumbo movement until 2022. So 2021 is absolutely iconic caliber that went through like all the years of production of this watch until pretty much now, that was replaced with a little bit more updated movements. So that's how you know that it's time proven and iconic watch. So absolutely stunning piece. And we all know about like the dial, that this is Tapisserie dial with this cool pattern. This particular watch comes with the gray blackish dial. So it's actually adding a little bit more unique thing to the and matching with like the stainless steel case of the watch. So absolutely stunning piece, absolute icon in the industry. And if you are looking to get one of them into your collection and wear this piece of history on your wrist, please give us a call at SwissWatchExpo.com.